So hey everyone, welcome to today's class. It's been at least 2 or 3 days since I started my recordings. So today we are going to learn about AWS Shield and WAF. It's going to be a pretty small session, and I'm going to show you as to how to create a web application firewall using a CloudFormation template which AWS themselves provide, and how do we tweak it to our needs, like what are all the features that we require from WAF, and what are all the different features that AWS Shield provides us with, and what are the two different flavors of AWS Shield. So we have Shield Standard that comes out of the box when we create a brand new AWS account. And then we have Shield Advanced. So as the name suggests, both of these are security related services, and we will look into all of the different features that it provides. So let's get started. So AWS Shield, it's a managed distributed denial of service protection service that safeguards applications running on AWS. So by default, if you start using Route 53 or you start using CloudFront or you start using API Gateway, or even let's say that you're using S3. These are some of the services that you could possibly have any kind of distributed denial of service attack that could happen. So if you're using Route 53 and you're using CloudFront, by default Shield Standard comes into play, and any new AWS account that you create, it comes automatically configured with Shield Standard. So it provides always on detection and automatic line mitigation that minimizes application downtime and latency. So there is no need to engage AWS support for any kind of DDoS protection. And there are two tiers for AWS Shield. One is standard and one is advanced. So Shield, it's a new managed service that protects your web applications against DDoS attacks. It works in conjunction with Elastic Load Balancing. Specifically, you can use the application load balancer. It also comes along with CloudFront and Route 53 and protects you from DDoS attacks of many types, shapes, and sizes. So when it comes to the Shield Standard, it is always on in terms of the network flow monitoring, and inspects all of the incoming network traffic and applies a combination of traffic signatures, anomaly algorithms, and other analysis techniques to detect any kind of malicious traffic in real time. It also provides you with this inline attack mitigation. So automatic mitigation techniques are built into Shield Standard, giving you protection against common and frequently occurring infrastructure attacks. Automatic mitigation are applied inline to your application, so there is no latency impact. It uses some techniques such as deterministic packet filtering, priority-based traffic shaping. So these are some of the techniques that it uses, but then we don't have to dig deep into these techniques even for the exam perspective. All we have to understand that Shield Standard is already built into our infrastructure, into some of the services that we are using. But when it comes to Shield Advanced, it's a paid service that provides additional protections for internet-facing applications such as Elastic Cloud Compute, where probably you would be hosting your application, Elastic Load Balancing that sits in front of your cloud compute instances, and then you can have it integrated with CloudFront, Global Accelerator, and also with Route 53. So Shield Advanced, it detects and alerts you of smaller DDoS attacks, and it also protects you from additional attacks such as HTTP floods or DNS query floods, and so on. Shield Advanced is available globally on CloudFront, Global Accelerator, and Route 53's edge locations. And you can protect your web applications hosted anywhere in the world by deploying CloudFront in front of your application, irrespective of whether the origin is going to be an S3 bucket, or the origin can be a load balancer, or it can be a compute instance, or it can also be a server that is outside of AWS, probably in your on-premise infrastructure, because you can have a custom origin endpoint in CloudFront. So when it comes to AWS WAF, it is a web application firewall. So it lets you monitor all of the HTTP, HTTPS requests. So therefore, you can prevent yourself from attacks such as cross-site scripting, SQL injection, and so on. And you can integrate web application firewall with 3 services specifically. One is with Amazon API Gateway. The other one is with Amazon CloudFront. And the third one is with the application load balancer alone. So you can note over here, classic and network load balancer doesn't support WAF, but application load balancer does. So these 3 integrations you'll have to remember going into your exam. So again, based on the conditions that you specify, such as IP addresses, so you can also specify a whitelist set of IP addresses, wherein if suppose a request comes from those IP addresses, you're going to allow that request. But then you can also specify a set of blacklist IP addresses, wherein it's going to be automatically blocked by WAF. You can also prevent yourself, like I mentioned, based on the cross-site scripting or the SQL injection attack. Even I believe that there is support for bad broth scraping, and even for any kind of HTTP flood attacks that could happen. So you can configure different rule sets in WAF, and I'll be showing it to you on the console as to what are all the different rules that you can possibly configure. So you can also mitigate application layer DDoS attacks by using AWS WAFs in conjunction with CloudFront and Route 53. So some of the protection use cases are for web applications and APIs. When using CloudFront Shield standard, you will be preventing yourself from infrastructure layer attacks such as SYN floods attacks or UDP flood attack or any kind of reflection attack. But when you want more advanced kind of protection, you will have to go for Shield Advanced. And I'll show you a comparison between what are all the different features that Shield Standard compared with Shield Advanced provides. And Shield Advanced is pretty pricey. It stands at $3,000. Again, regarding the DNS, Shield Standard automatically protects your hosted zones and Route 53 from any kind of infrastructure layer DDoS attacks. This also includes attacks such as SYN floods or probably UDP flood attacks that target your DNS and so on. So let's go to the console and let's try to understand as to what Shield in comparison with Shield Standard and Advanced provides us with. And then let's go ahead and spawn up our CloudFormation template for creating our web application firewall. So I'm right now logged into the console. So in this console, you can see that I'll have to go ahead and click on services, and you can see WAF and Shield together is under the same set of services. So it's integrated into the same dashboard on the console. So you can see under Shield, when you look at protected resources, it shows you a comparison between Shield Standard and Advanced. With Shield Standard, you get the network flow monitoring, but then with Shield Advanced, you do get the layer 7 traffic monitoring. With Shield Standard, you get the DDoS mitigation such as SYN and UDP flood attacks, but additional DDoS mitigation capacity is given through Shield Advanced. And regarding visibility and reporting, you do get only those features with Shield Advanced, and even a response team will be there for you in terms of any kind of DDoS attacks that happens. And you will also have the post-attack analysis with the team, and that is provided to you only by Shield Advanced. And you can also go ahead and reimburse all of your related Route 53, CloudFront, and ELB DDoS charges if you are with Shield Advanced. And you can see it is $3,000 per month plus additional data transfer fees. And AWS WAF is included with Shield Advanced at no additional cost. But when you are going with Shield Standard, you will have to also activate AWS WAF, and there is also a price to AWS WAF with each and every rule that you create, and you associate each and every rule with a respective resource such as API Gateway, Amazon CloudFront, or Application Load Balancer. Okay. So right now we are in the WAF homepage. So instead of creating the WAF through here, I'll be using a CloudFormation template. It's pretty easy to find. So you can just go to Google and type AWS WAF CloudFormation template, and you'll land up in this page in the first link. But I'll just copy this link and present it in the resources section of the video on that course. So it's docs.aws.amazon.com/solutions/latest/AWS-WAF-security-automations/template.html. So I'm going to go ahead and view this template. You can go ahead and download that template. Right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to CloudFormation, and I'm going to launch this template over there. I'm going to go ahead and create a new stack with new resources, and the template is ready. I'm going to upload the template file. I'm going to search in my downloads for AWS. So let me go down. Okay. So this is my WAF template. Let's see all the different parameters that it provides us with so that we get an idea what rules we want to configure. So the stack name I'm going to give is AWS WAF as a stack name. So you can see over here whether you want to activate SQL injection, cross-site scripting. Yes, I would like to do that. And I would also like to activate HTTP flood attacks. But regarding the active scanner and the probe protection, it uses Lambda functions in the background. So I'm not going to enable this. And you can also activate reputation list protection, wherein they also have a set of whitelist IPs and blacklist IPs. And you can also activate bad bot protection. So I'm not going to enable this one. And regarding the endpoint type, you can also choose between CloudFront or Application Load Balancer, but also note that it also integrates with API Gateway too. Okay. And you can also choose to, choose your application access logs bucket name. If you choose yes for the active scanners and the probe protection, you'll have to provide an S3 bucket over here. So right now I have disabled that. So therefore I wouldn't need to configure this setting. And regarding the request threshold, because for the HTTP flood protection, you would have specified how many HTTP requests can come from a specific IP address. So therefore we are going to set that threshold setting, since we have enabled it, to possibly 1000 right now. And even the error threshold, I would like to I mean, I don't want to configure this because right now the active scanners and probe protection parameter is set to false. You can also configure your WAF block period if you would like, but again, since I have set it to false, I don't want to do that. And you want to keep data in the original S3 location if you choose the Athena log parser. But even that we haven't enabled right now, so therefore we are going to set it to false. Our WAF right now is going to be pretty simple in nature. It's going to have SQL injection, cross-site scripting, and HTTP flood attack, as well as a reputation list with whitelist and blacklist set of IP addresses. Okay, let's go to next. So okay, so I can't have a space. Go to next. I'm just going to go down and click on next, and I'm going to go ahead and click on. I acknowledge for the IAM roles that it may create on my behalf in the background. I'm just going to go ahead and click on create stack. Now this could take possibly some time, so therefore I'll pause the recording and come back after some time. Okay, so it took at least 15 to 20 minutes for AWS WAF to be fully created with all the different rules that we enabled. So let's go to the console for AWS WAF in order to see all of these in action. So I'm just going to refresh this page right now. So it's specifically saying that there are no web ACLs found in this region, but let's look at the rule groups to see if anything has been created. There are no rule groups. Let's look at the IP sets. There are no IP sets. Probably I think it's just cached, or let me just check any other region. Probably I think the region that I deployed this template is in the Northern Virginia region. So maybe let me take a look at the outputs parameter. So it's specifically saying that there is a web ACL that has been created. So probably I think I will just have to refresh this page. Something is coming from the cache. So, okay, so it's still saying that there is no. Okay, so the previous version of AWS WAF is known as AWS Classic. So probably let me just shift to that and see if there are any web ACLs. Oh, awesome. So there are some web ACLs over here for the previous version of WAF. That's really nice. Okay, so let me look at this web ACL over here. You can see in this web ACL, it's of type CloudFront for the specific CloudFront distribution that we have created this. So therefore, we can associate this web ACL with CloudFront. And similarly, you saw that while creating the CloudFormation template, we had one specifically for load balancer. So therefore, we can associate that with the load balancer. And you can also look at the different rules that have been created. So we do have a whitelist rule, a blacklist rule, an SQL injection rule, and cross-site scripting rule, and also a HTTP flood rule, and also the IP reputation list rule. So let's look at each one of these rules. So let's look at the whitelist rule. So you can see that we can also add some whitelist IP addresses to this rule. If you take a look at the blacklist rule, you can also see that you can also add some IP addresses over here. Let me click on edit over here. So you can go ahead and add your IP ranges. So you can go ahead and add an IPv4 or a v6 range over here. Generally, you would do this to your organization's IP address. So let's look at the other rules that are available. So let's look at this WAF IP reputation rule list. So even over here, you can see that there are so many different IP addresses. So if suppose your organization has a public IP that is sitting in any one of these ranges, then probably go ahead and edit this rule and remove that respective range of IP address. But you can see that these are all coming from an IP reputation list set that is already pre-configured with AWS WAF. And other than that, you can also take a look at the SQL injection rule. So it takes a look at all of the different HTTP, header as well as the body and the query. And it also looks at whether it contains any kind of URL, it contains any kind of HTML tags, or probably you can you can see that it checks a lot of different conditions for SQL injection. Similarly, even for cross-site scripting, it does check a lot of different conditions. And based on which, if suppose there is someone who is injecting a JavaScript code through the URL, it will automatically be blocked. So you can do this testing with OWASP ZAP. If you're trying to check whether you would like to see some traffic which is being denied by AWS WAF, you can use OWASP ZAP for doing all of your DAST checks or dynamic checks, and wherein you will also be able to see that in your WAF dashboard, you will be able to see that automatically all of the traffic is being rejected, right? So let's go back to the ACL and let's take a look at whether we'll be able to see some other. So you can see over here that we have this dashboard, which is going to show us all of our different requests that are being allowed and blocked. And you can also go ahead and get new samples for that respective rule. If suppose you are using cross-site scripting, you can get the new samples. But right now, I'm not sending any requests to a CloudFront distribution. So I haven't even associated this with a CloudFront distribution. So you can click on rules. You can also click on logging, and you can enable logging over here, wherein you'll need to set up Kinesis Firehose before enabling this option, because all of your logs are going to be streamed to Kinesis Firehose, and from there your logs can be sent to 4 other different destinations, which we studied about in the Kinesis section. Okay, so now let's see that since we have created this AWS WAF, let's try to see if we can associate it with the CloudFront distribution, whether it shows over there. So let me go to CloudFront. So let me create a new distribution. I'm going to choose a web-based distribution. And when I scroll down over here, I should be able to see the WAF ACL. So you can see AWS WAF is showing up over here, which is the WAF v1 version 1 that we have created for ourselves, which is showing over here also. The name is AWS WAF and it's showing over here. So that's how pretty simple it is for us to associate a web application firewall with a CloudFront distribution in order to get all of those different protection rules that we have set up in AWS WAF. Okay, so thanks a lot, guys, for attending this session. So this is it regarding AWS WAF, and it doesn't pop up much in your exam, but just remember that this is the way that you would configure it and start playing along with all the different rules so that you get an idea of all the different configurations that you can do in respective with AWS WAF. And regarding AWS Shield, remember that there are two versions of Shield, or two flavors. One is Shield Standard and the other one is Shield Advanced. And Shield Advanced comes with all of the different features such as a DDoS team for yourself, including layer 3 and layer 4 kind of protection. But Shield Standard is already integrated and it's always on as a feature for CloudFront, Route 53, and any load balancer that you use. Okay. So thanks a lot for attending this session. I'll catch you in the next session, guys. Have a great day.